beautifuls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kahoso, but some call me Kahonina with the cuteness Mutoko Minaj. The baddest in the school, the baddest in the game, the baddest with the bars. Inizo, King Lane, and this is my channel. Hi! So, as you can see, today I've brought you in a little closer, and for the first time on the Kahoso channel, the hair is let loose. The hair is not in buns, the hair is not on pigtails, the hair is not on a French braid. I mean, we've literally gone through every single possible hairstyle we could have, and now it's time for the tips on how you could be a bad bitch like this, right? So in this video, we're gonna talk everything you need to know about growing your dreadlocks to this length, how long it took me, the journey, and every single detail you need to know to be a bad bitch with the locks, right? After years and years of growing it, look, that's inches, darling. If I could show you like this so that you could see. There is so much to talk about, so much to get into, so I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to waste my time. Let's get into the few tips you need to know. Okay, so before we start, I just wanted to bring you closer into the earrings. These earrings are paying homage to the great Bob Marley. Had beautiful locks, beautiful personality, and you know, we've been inspired. Now it's been a long journey to get to the length that I've gotten to, and I know you might ask, Kaho, how long is your hair? I'm gonna tell you all of that. Don't worry, we're gonna get into everything you need to know. So, a bit of a backstory is, when I was growing up from a very young age, right, even before like a year and a half years in age, I had dreadlocks. But as you grow older and as you move, you know, and you enter white spaces, they were like, no ma'am, you can't have that. And so over the years, my hair has been cut, my hair has been shaped, it has been tied, it has been braided, it has been done the works, right? But as you grow up and as you become older, you realize that, hey, I'm allowed to have autonomy over my own hair. Because as Solange says, what does she say? Don't touch my hair. It is the reason I fly. Okay, I don't know the lyrics, but period. That's what she says, right? And so I started growing my hair journey, and after a decade of growing this hair, or close to a decade, right? Don't come for me. The people who've been following me on the gram know that there's been stages where this hair was here, and there were stages where it was here, and then it was there, right? They know that. So don't come for me. It's been a journey and process, right? And I just want to give you a couple of tips that you can implement in your dreadlock journey, right? So let's get into the video. Firstly, it is so important that you allow your hair to breathe, right? Hair is, I don't know if it's an organism, that's what I mean. I don't know if it's an organism, but it definitely needs to breathe and grow, right? And so let it breathe. When you're twisting your hair and when you're starting out with dreadlocks, yes, it is important to twist it into the shapes and sizes you want, but once it has been shaped and once it has been twisted, it is so important that you're not continually retwisting and reshaping and reheating, because then that forces your hair not only to grow into those demarcated, allocated positions, but it also forces it to be thin, right? It is so important that you let your hair grow, you go through the messy stage of having dreadlocks, where you've got a full head of hair and it looks like that intermediate stage between having an afro and dreadlocks. You need to go through that before you can get to this, darling. Before you can get to this, right? You need to allow your hair to do that. It is said that your hair grows half an inch every month, right? And so my suggestion is, if you always have to retwist your hair because of work or whatever reason you have, then I would suggest twisting it every 6 weeks, a month to 6 weeks. And when you do have spaces where you don't need to twist your hair, I'm gonna say let it grow. Let it grow for 2 months, let it grow for 2.5 months. Let it grow until you feel like, nah man, now I look like a bird's nest, right? But don't always feel pressure to retwist your hair. You need to go through the stage where you are just, you know, looking like you have half an afro, half dreadlocks. You can't get through that. Next, I do not recommend bleaching or dyeing your hair, right? This not only burns your hair, but it also causes it to be brittle, can cause it to be thin, and may lead to it falling out, right? Your hair naturally dyes out by itself, and as it's growing and as it's dying, it will change in color. I don't know if I have any parts to show you, but my hair is a combination of black and ombre because of how it's dyed off over the years. I don't know if you can see that, right? But yeah, so if you have to, then I recommend you not spray paints, not dyes, but things that wash off, right? Things that won't toxin your hair, because once it's in there, baby, your hair might be falling off and there's nothing you can do about it, because all of this is natural, right? You can be like them other girls and go get synthetics and get them installed, but if you're trying to go the natural way, then these are the tips for you. Next, following that, let me tell you something, right? Water is your best friend. When people say it is so important to stay hydrated, they mean drink a lot of water. And I'm saying, while you drink a lot of water, moisturize your hair, darling, right? You need to moisturize your hair because your hair becomes dry, especially if you've got African hair like this, which becomes dry, especially when you're in the sun. It is so important that at least once a day you are moisturizing. And you don't have to necessarily always moisturize the roots of your dreadlocks. You don't have to necessarily continually moisturize the roots of your dreadlocks, because then you might undo your twists. But it is so important that you get inside, right? You get in the corners, you get in the full coverage, so that it doesn't become dry and die out quickly. You're trying to preserve this hair for as long as you want it. And I'm saying, girl, keep it moisturized. And also, on top of water, there are various different moisturizers you can use for your African locks, right? Just look at the products that you're using, your coconuts, your coconut oils, your shea butters, all of those things, your castor oils, your Jamaican oils, all of those things help grow your hair. But be sure that what you're putting in your hair to moisturize is not a concealer, right? It's not a Secura. Most times we go and we buy something and we put it in our hair, but we haven't moisturized the hair, and it turns out that that thing we put in is not a moisturizer but a sealer. And now what are you doing? You're sealing in dryness, you're sealing in death, right? Because your hair's gonna go, I can't breathe. It won't be able to breathe. So I'm just saying, keep your hair continually moisturized, and be sure you're checking the labels of what you're moisturizing your hair with. Fourthly, if you're not Nicki Minaj sleeping in some $1,000 sheets, or if you're not sleeping in some silk sheets, darling, then it is important that you're tying your hair up, right? There's a lot of friction that happens when you're sleeping, and there's a lot of movement and dust and cotton that can get into your hair. Your hair does not like and does not want a lot of textures on it, because have you seen those people who have like white spots here and white things here? That's bed fluff from their pillows, from their bed sheets, and you don't want that, because that gets locked into your hair and can cause breakage, right? You don't want that. So make sure that you're tying up your hair and you're wrapping it with something. I would say try to do that all the time you go to sleep. It won't be a train smash if you go to sleep without tying up your hair once in a while, but tie your hair up as often as possible, right? You don't want to play here, you don't want to miss it. Fifthly, it is so important that you avoid cutting out split ends, right? When your hair is growing, it might have some hair that grows left and right and outwards. I don't know if you can see that, but all these hairs here, it is so important that you avoid cutting those, right? Because they add to the growth and to the length and to the width of your hair. Yes, once your hair has reached a longer length, you can kind of trim it to look more neat, but it is so important that you're willing to go through the stages that require dreadlocks, right? Dreadlocks are not an overnight thing. You cannot go and pray for them and grow them. And yes, stop, don't come for me. I know you can go and buy dreadlocks and you can go and install other people's hair, which is perfectly fine, right? Some people I know have done that. I even know this person who goes by the name of Minaj. They also did that, but like, it is what it is, right? And so if you want to do that, that's okay. Just remember that hair carries history, and hair carries memory, and hair carries trauma. And so be careful who you're getting your hair from. Make sure that it's someone you know, somebody you trust, somebody you love. Anyways, lastly, it is so important that you're having fun with your hair journey. You are going to go through different stages. You are going to look like different people, right? Because Obviously, when you still got your baby dreads and you still got your short locks here, you won't look like ayo, ayo, ayo. And then when you're growing in length, you're gonna change. You're gonna cut the sides maybe. You're gonna tie it up. You're gonna do different things. And it's okay to explore those things. It's okay to have fun. Remember, this is your hair and it's yours alone. And it tells the story you want it to tell. Remember that hair is an expression of who you are. And so when schools like the school that DeAndre Arnold goes to, the one who was an Ellen, the one who was denied graduating because his university said he must cut his dreadlocks if he wants to graduate. We're not gonna get into that bullshit. You don't have to do that, right? You're allowed to do what you want with your hair. And darling, might I add, right? Might I add, dreadlocks are for bad bitches only. Right? So if you've got dreadlocks or if you're thinking of starting dreadlocks, I support you because this is the channel for the baddest, right? For the cutest in the game. For the cutest in their own lane. And I want to be there to help you. If you have any questions on your natural hair dreadlock journey, you can feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I engage everybody, listen. But there are people who've been on this journey longer than I have. There are people who've gone through different stages, gone through different experiences in high school with their dreadlocks. And I feel like I haven't asked them, but they might be willing to help you. So you can either ask Kopano or Lindo, and I'm sure they'll be willing to help you. I'll tag them in the description box down below. They are aesthetic gods. If you want to find ways to make your hair versatile and still grow your dreadlocks and still look neat and still be the baddest in the streets, they are the people to ask. Listen! As of recent, your boy does reaction videos. So click up here if you want to see my reaction videos, and click down here to see my most recent videos. So that's the end of the video. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for being here. And remember, be a bad bitch. Always.